I got this job to survive, but then I heard a number that terrified me. 29 years. And I realized I was looking at a ghost of my own future. This is a video about quiet crisis of belief. With the Home Depot, I was really happy. Finally, I have a source of income to sustain and survive the new land I have found myself, US. But quickly I realized that my tasks are the same and everything I do is just the same in different creative ways. It takes 8 hours of every other 5 days of my week, same colors, same overhead music. The one thing that caught my attention, the amazement I get every time old workers who are now the bosses say they have worked 10 years, 20 years, 29 years. And wow, I had to ask myself what it means to work for somebody else for that long and repeating the same thing 8 hours every day should mean one thing: lack of belief in oneself. It must be the worst case of lack of belief in oneself. This is where I am right now in my life. If you don't tell yourself the brutal truth, you need to make progress. All activities could mean nothing. Gathering first-hand research information about how your job would never lead to your full potentials. I am not waiting until I escape the 9 to 5 to talk about freedom. I am documenting the friction in real time from inside the constraint, the inside out method. Not achieve freedom, then teach about freedom, but document the trap while building the escape. I am relatable instead of aspirational. My audience sees themselves in my current struggle, not just in my future success. The constraint became the content. The limitation becomes the message. The cage becomes the proof that another way exists. I work a 9 to 5 job every morning I wake up, knowing I am trading hours of my life for money that barely covers my bills and subscriptions. Every day an idea hits me at work and I have to suppress it because I am on someone else's clock. Most creators speak from the mountaintop. I broadcast from the valley. That makes me authentic. That authenticity makes me more influential because people trust the journey more than the destination. Your constraint 9 to 5 job is both your biggest limitation and your biggest asset. It limits your time but authenticates your message. If you're already free, you will lose the proof that freedom is possible from exactly where your audience is standing. You have to start to discover more of yourself by learning on the journey, making mistakes, and iterating to become better. The essence is more about discovering oneself and all the capabilities. The mission isn't separate from self discovery. The mission is the vehicle for discovering who you are. You don't wait for clarity before starting. You start to get clarity. You don't prepare until you're ready. You build to become ready. The quest reveals the quester. From a young age, I've always wanted to do something beyond me. I believe there's more to life than we see. Deep down in my soul, I know I am here for a reason, not just to watch life as a spectator, but as an active participant. Hence the gift I was endowed with. They look more like tools now. You have an internal knowing that you are here for something beyond yourself. But the specific shape only emerges through action. The clarity you're waiting for only comes through the building you're avoiding. So you must start without clarity to gain clarity. When I had the opportunity to speak with some of my colleagues, I asked them a few questions. And one of the questions that I asked is, what does it mean because if you have invested the same amount of years into your own life and business, head music of your life on loop. It takes about 1 to 2 months of confusion, feeling lost, and being on the verge of giving up for the right amount of vision to form. Style, not their lifestyle to fit their work. But they don't realize that nobody is going to give that to you. Modern life is filled with comfort drugs that you become literally addicted to. How to stimulate artificial adversity to take back control. Go on your next vacation where you can finally leave. This mindset contains a fundamental misunderstanding of what works. You are simply there to get paid and survive. You don't have a goal that demands you at your best. All you have you have waiting for you tomorrow. Socializing becomes less of a drag when you actually have experiences worth sharing. Level stress and ambient anxiety because you never fully commit to one side. You're always half. Well, there are quite a few reasons. First, conditioning. Our brains are wired to hunt, but we no longer live in a hunter-gatherer environment. What does that mean? You have to stimulate adversity because it rarely occurs naturally in modern life. In other words, you manufacture scarcity. You deprive yourself of pleasure so that your dopamine signaling works like a normal functioning human. You eat bland yet nutritious food so that when you go out, you actually taste the food. You train so hard that you appreciate normal waking life. You work in short bursts of intensity so that rest and leisure are actually spent on rest and leisure. You leverage technology and knowledge not as a way to numb yourself from the negatives of life, but as a way to maintain your sensitivity to everyday life. Cold exposure or heat exposure, intermittent fasting, sleep deprivation cycles, voluntary poverty while building a business, downgrading your lifestyle, social isolation periods like monk mode, gratitude deprivation. If you practice gratitude often and it becomes normal, digital detox and social media detox. Unless you plan to break off from this beautiful world with all of its luxuries and live in the woods, cut off from civilization and closed off to new opportunities that create abundance, incorporating some form of artificial adversity in your life is a tool to ensure that your mind doesn't get destroyed by modernity. I want to thank you for still being here. If you need more resources from me, you can click on this video. You can also check the links in the description for some of my other works that you can engage and interact with.